everyone, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger from toitnutrition.com, bringing you, as always, keto without the crazy. I finally rigged something up to raise myself up a little so you could see more of the painting that is usually behind me. I realize it's not perfectly centered or anything. This is a very low budget operation here, but I am going to attempt to up my background game. I don't know how or when, but you know, change is a coming, let's hope. What else can I say? Oh, I am sitting, I kid you not, on a giant styrofoam box. So if this thing crumbles at some point or you hear weird noises, it was not enough to support my weight. I'm sitting on a big styrofoam box because my chairs are just too low. That's why, you know, you could normally only see like that much of the painting behind me because I was so low to the ground. And my sister is about 5'10". I'm 5'2". So that's where the height went in the family. But I did get the blue eyes. My sister has brown eyes. And our grandmother was about 4'10". So when she would get into her car, she had like 1 or 2 phone books. You know, those of you that are old enough to remember those old school, the yellow pages that, you know, the phone book was about 4 inches thick. She sat on phone books in the driver's seat of her own car just so she could see, you know, out the windshield. Anyway, big, important topic to discuss today. But before I get there, I do want to call your attention to the notes. Check out the notes below. We have the Keto Made Simple Masterclass starting just about immediately. I think today might be the first day it's open for sale. If I publish this video on, I think it's July 25th, that should be a Monday, or the 26th, sorry, July 26th. Keto Made Simple Masterclass. If you are overwhelmed by the nuttiness in keto and it's so complicated and so confusing and you don't know what to do, click Keto Made Simple Masterclass. It's starting like nowish. And then if you already have this keto thing down, but maybe you are specifically really struggling in a fat loss stall, or you're not struggling, but you just want to learn more about how keto works specifically for fat loss, or if you just like my style, you like keto without the crazy, you like the way I deliver information, check out the Stall Slayer Masterclass. That's coming in September. So there's links to everything below. I just don't want you to miss it. So get on all the mailing lists and subscribe, because then you will be notified when everything's ready. Moving on to the topic. Let's talk about why you eat, when you eat, and hunger stuff. I will link also below to a video I did not long ago on the topic of hunger or lack thereof on keto. But today what I really want to focus specifically on is what is your eating scheme, for lack of a better phrase? What is your eating regimen or regime, and why? Why have you settled upon that eating scheme? And when I say scheme, I guess what I really mean is schedule more than anything. Are you someone who eats 3 meals a day? Do you eat 1 meal a day or 2? Are you someone who grazes throughout the day? Do you do intermittent fasting, and have you chosen a very specific timing window? Like you only eat between noon and 8 p.m. or 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. or whatever the number of hours or that specific time frame is. Wherever you have landed, because there's no right or wrong, whatever you're doing, I have 2 questions that I want you to ask yourself, at least 2 for now. More might come to me during the course of this video. Why did you settle on that? And is it working? Why are you eating at the times or in the frequency that you are? And are you getting the results you want? Is it effective? Is it working for you? I don't really know which is better to start with. Let's start with number 1. You know, I said there's no right and wrong. Literally, there's only what works for you. People will tell you what's optimal. Is it better to have 2 meals a day or 3? Is it better to graze? Is it better to never graze? Is it bad to have snacks? Good and bad how? Good and bad for whom? Optimal for whom? And I hate that word optimal or optimize, but I use it because it it's a helpful word. I don't like optimal for who? Optimal for what? For fat loss, for blood sugar control, for migraine prevention, for enjoyment of life. What are we optimizing for? You can't know what's optimal until you know what exactly you're trying to optimize, or what you're the thing you're optimizing for as the end goal, because they might be a little bit different. Reaching a certain body fat percentage or a certain body weight might require a different tactic compared to some other goal that you might have. So why did you choose what you chose? Is it because you feel best doing that? Is it because it helps keep your appetite well controlled most of the day? Is it because the things you've chosen to eat at the times you've chosen to eat them help you stay very satisfied for several hours so that you don't have to snack? Or maybe you are snacking because it works better for you. Does it help you stay energized? Does it help you, does it prevent cravings? You're not like craving sugar every 90 minutes. Why have you chosen? Or, are you following your own hunger? Are you allowing yourself to eat when you feel genuine hunger? And if you don't know what genuine hunger is, watch that video I've linked to about hunger on keto. Are you eating? Are you allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to eat when you feel genuinely hungry, regardless of the time of day, whether it's 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. or what have you? Are you allowing yourself to eat when you're hungry? Or are you forcing yourself to wait until some arbitrary time of day, or until the next morning, or until after a workout? Are you paying attention to those signals or not? And if not, why? Is it because Dr. So-and-so on the internet said that it's bad to eat more than 2 meals a day? Or that it's bad to graze, or it's bad to snack? Is it because some nutritionist or dietitian or doctor said that, well, the optimal thing is, but again, optimal for who? Are you taking advice from some rando on the internet who has never met you, doesn't know squat about your current circumstances, your health situation, your weight situation, your past, your dietary past, maybe any food addiction behaviors you have, binge eating tendencies you have, childhood traumas you've experienced that you are maybe eating to tamp down emotions? Are you taking advice from someone who's giving you suggestions without knowing anything whatsoever about you and what you are trying to accomplish? Maybe even me. I offer advice sometimes. Of course, it's never medical advice. It's just information. I like to think I give information and maybe suggestions for things that you can try. But I hope that if you've been watching me for a while now, one of the overarching messages that should come through is that I don't really care what you do as long as it's safe and you're getting the results you want. Are you putting yourself in any kind of harm or danger? Because we don't want that. And are you accomplishing the goals you want to accomplish? That's what matters to me. Whether you're using a ketogenic diet to do that or not, just lowish carb or any other way of eating. I don't give precise plans to anyone, except, if somebody comes to me as a client, and then I do have paperwork and I do know the details of their situation, and then I can give, well, why don't you try this exact thing and this exact thing? But I try not to really give a lot of blanket recommendations, other than, I'm not going to lie, I have provided suggestions and advice. Now, so yeah, why are you eating however many meals or within whatever window? Because some stranger that knows nothing about you said to do that, is that a good enough reason? Some of us are so far removed from trusting our own bodies and listening to our own bodies that we'll do anything that somebody else says just because they have fancy letters after their name. And I gotta tell you, letters aren't all they're cracked up to be. I know, just because somebody has lots and lots of letters after their name doesn't mean they know F all about you and what's going to work for you in your particular life circumstances. Doesn't mean they're not smart, doesn't mean they're not educated. It just means whatever they're saying might be wholly inappropriate in your circumstance. And then, of course, there's plenty of people with no formal training whatsoever, no letters after their name, no formal education in any of this, who are helping thousands, if not millions of people by just sharing their own experience. Hey, this is what I tried this program or this plan, or I just learned about this bodily system and that made me realize X epiphany. So letters schmetters, I got some for my own sort of self-confidence. I wanted to have a formal credential to sort of stand on, but I know tons of people who don't, that I personally have benefited massively from. So, but that's just a question, who are you listening to and why? And is whatever they're telling you to do working for you? Are you happy with the results you're getting? I just want to kind of give you permission, not that you need Amy Berger's permission to do anything, but I want to give you permission to follow your own instinct. If you try to adhere to a certain eating window and you only consume food within a certain time, but then 2 or 3 hours after your window closes, you're ravenous and you're in the kitchen, you're standing looking at the fridge, and that happens all the time or most of the time, maybe that window's not right for you. Maybe you need to have a bigger window or no window at all. Maybe you need to just give yourself permission to eat when you're hungry. Snacking and grazing is like the third rail of keto. Heaven forbid you should eat small amounts of food throughout the day rather than one giant feeding like a friggin' zoo animal. There's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. And I'll give you even one example. If you are someone that has had bariatric surgery, depending on the type of surgery, you probably can't eat 1 large meal a day or even 2 large meals a day because you can't get enough protein in that time. Your capacity is so small. You have to eat little amounts throughout the day. And there's nothing wrong with that. Even if you've never had any surgery like that or any other, physical limitation in that way, some people honestly feel best doing that. And when we talk about how bad snacking is and how bad grazing is, where does that research come from? In people eating garbage, standard American, standard Western, high sugar, high refined crap diets. If you're eating sugar every 60 minutes and eating crap every couple of intervals, you probably are better off quitting that and having, 1 or 2 or 3 just meals and nothing in between. It's a very, very different hormonal and enzymatic scenario if you're grazing all day, having little bites, but you're having little bites of a couple of slices of pepperoni and a handful of pork rinds, or a little handful of almonds, or, a 5-ounce can of tuna, a cold piece of chicken, some cold leftover sausages. Totally different hormonal ball game, totally different blood glucose insulin regulation ball game. So I just think, don't be afraid to change. If you are currently doing 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day, but it's like it's not working for you, you don't enjoy it, you find yourself really, really fighting hunger at other times of day, but not only fighting the hunger, fighting and losing, and then feeling guilty, feeling ashamed, self-flagellating, flogging yourself because you ate outside your window, or you had a snack and now you're going to spend the rest of the night beating yourself up. That's not working for you. If it's not working, maybe snacking would be more helpful for you. Maybe grazing would be a little bit better. If you're already grazing and snacking and that's not working for you, maybe you should revert to 1 or 2 or 3 meals and have a solid, a nice substantial portion of food. Don't be afraid to eat a solid portion of food, especially you ladies out there. Eat sometimes people feel the need to snack or they want to graze because they're not eating large enough meals. We've become so, again, especially women, you're so afraid to eat an amount of food that's fit for an adult human being, an adult grown animal human species. You're so afraid to actually satisfy your appetite that you're just eating little 3 ounces of chicken on your iceberg lettuce, and you wonder why you're hungry 60 minutes later. So, you might be snacking and grazing because you're really hungry. And while there's nothing wrong with snacking and grazing, if you don't want to snack and graze, make sure that you're eating large enough meals that are keeping you satisfied, that are keeping you satiated so that you don't feel the need to reach for a little bite an hour after your meal. So let me just pause here to think if there's anything I'm forgetting before I end. It's okay, not only is it okay to experiment overall, like especially if what you're doing is not working for you and you don't enjoy it. I'm about to, my next video I'm going to record is like about actually enjoying your diet and enjoying the food you get to eat, because whatever you're doing, if you don't actually like it, if you're forcing yourself to do it, that's going to run out at some point. The will to shoehorn yourself into that thing that you hate is only going to last for so long. One day the F it moment is going to come. So why not just prevent that from happening? Like, don't be, find a scheme that works and that you enjoy. And so don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to change if you normally snack, maybe don't snack. If you normally don't snack, maybe snack. And here's the other part of that. Not only is that, I think, helpful overall as an approach, don't be afraid to change and experiment from day to day. Even if you do have a window that you feel works best for yourself, you don't have to have that window 7 days a week, every single day of the month, every single month of the year. Let's say, and Dr. Westman and I wrote about this in End Your Carb Confusion. We had a brief section on intermittent fasting, and we said, even if you do choose to implement some type of intermittent fasting, you can vary that from day to day. It doesn't always have to be that you eat from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or from noon to 8 p.m., whatever. It could be that way on weekdays because maybe your work schedule is more conducive to that, but on weekends, you're having breakfast with your family or you're going out with friends, and that would put a real kink in the social life if you had some kind of fasting window. Because we do a really great job of ignoring mental health in the keto world. It's not all about your freaking six-pack abs, and it's not all about your blood sugar, frankly, either. Like, there is something to be said for, enjoying life for the short time that we're all here on this planet. So, it can vary from day to day. You could have a plan to do something, but then something really unexpected happens and you can't eat at the time you were supposed to eat, or the particular food you were supposed to, you had planned to have available isn't available. So don't just be flexible and experiment as an overarching principle. Be flexible on a daily basis. Maybe it's even you do stick to your things 7 days a week most of the time, but twice a month, you and your spouse or your significant other go to whatever restaurant and you're going to eat at a time of day you wouldn't normally eat on any other day. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a problem. You didn't slip, you didn't fail. If it's part of your plan, you actually stuck to the plan, right? So just do not be afraid to experiment. Do not be afraid to find what works best for you. And especially, don't be afraid to implement and stick with what works best for you, even if it is radically different from what some expert online is saying you should do. What you should do is what works best for you and is safe. But that safety should go without saying. If what works best for you is very different from what Dr. PhD so-and-so is saying, who cares? They don't live in your body, they don't live in your brain, they don't live in your stomach, they don't live in your environment and life. So they can be helpful, they can educate you, they can give you information. You're the one who gets to implement it in your own body and your own life. And you're the only one who gets a vote. They don't even get a vote, like my friend Casey from Go Keto with Casey says. No one gets a vote on what you eat. You know what else they don't get a vote on? When you eat, or how often you eat. No one gets a vote except you. There's so much crap that comes along with growing up and like becoming an adult. One of the nice things is that we have a lot more control over what we want to do. Now, if you have kids, of course, or you're caring for a parent, or, there's limitations. We can't necessarily always do everything we would want to do, or fail to do things that we don't want to do. We may have obligations that we have to fulfill, but as a general rule, at least we might not always be able to control, those parameters and those actions, but we're the only one who gets the vote. We're the only one who gets to determine how we feel about it. Okay, I'm grazing and I'm snacking. Should I feel bad about that? Should I feel guilty? Should I feel like I'm doing something wrong because doctor expert says that's bad? Or should I say, well, I'm doing this, but like, I feel really good. I lost 4 pounds, or like, it's working really well for me. I'm really comfortable with this. That's the part that only you get a vote on. So do enjoy your diet. Do your diet in the way that works for you, and check out the links. Check out that Keto Made Simple Masterclass. Get on it now. It's not open forever. You're only allowed. It's only available for purchase this week. Once you purchase it, it's self-paced and you can watch the video lessons at your own pace, but it's only available to actually purchase for 1 week, and it's this week starting July 26th. Get on that. Coming in September, the course, those course videos are Dr. Eric Westman. The Stall Slayer Masterclass coming up right after Keto Made Simple is Amy Berger's course based on my book, The Stall Slayer. Links to everything below. I bid you adieu. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.